It's no secret that digital media has impacted American society in many more ways than one. Through music, news, entertainment, and information, with the addition of drastically altering different fields, including journalism and radio. However, how did television change other aspects of culture, influencing human interaction and information transmission? This is how the television's appearance in society kept Americans out of the dark.
The first time that I was seized by the music was the first time I heard Duke Ellington broadcast from the Cotton Club, where Broadway, Hollywood, and Paris rub elbows.
In the roaring 1920s era, the need for entertainment and amusement was ever growing. Compared to earlier eras, the 1920s featured many more gateways for socializing and entertainment, with the introductions of speakeasies and thousands of clubs throughout the United States, such as the highly acclaimed Cotton Club, which featured assorted drinks, ambient music, which was typically jazz, and flapper dancers to keep the guests entertained. Theatric entertainment was also heavily on the rise, with actors and actresses taking the stage for typically upper-class citizens to enjoy.
Technicians in the Farnsworth, Philadelphia laboratories have helped to make television, the dazzling dream of the decade, a practical reality today. Mr. Philo T. Farnsworth, shown at the right, is working on the image dissector tube, a photoelectric camera tube of his own invention that distinguishes his system of television from others.
In 1927, the possibility to view such entertainment from your own home would start becoming a much more realistic scenario, with Philo Taylor Farnsworth inventing the first ever television, taking only 7 years to do so. He had an interest for the invention very early on in his life, but he wasn't able to proceed inventing until his 20s due to family matters. Although he had opportunities to, due to his attendance at Brigham Young University as a special student, while still being high school age. Through many different negotiations, Farnsworth finally produced his own company with a partnership with AT&T in 1939. However, the frequent use of television in homes would happen much later, after World War II.
One day you got nothing, phone, party line, newspaper, magazine. The next day you got this box, 12 inches in my Levittown house, black and white, and through that came, literally, the world I had never seen.
In the 1950s, televisions within a home became much more commonplace, alongside the invention's famous counterpart, the radio. Forms of media such as films, daytime television, and information broadcast became frequent parts of everyday life within a typical middle to high-class 1950s household. For its time, the technology was tremendously different than anything Americans had seen before, with names given such as radiovision and telephonoscope. Speculations of the invention also took place due to the unfamiliarity of the popular device. However, positive feedback was also widely received, with the new benefits of the television. The main one being connection, with viewers actually being able to see who they're listening to, compared to the radio and newspaper where they could only read or listen to their information. An example of this is in the 1960 election between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy, which was the first televised presidential debate in history. Many factors played a role in this, with viewers being able to study characteristics of the candidates, such as body language and appearance. Although this may have seemed vain to others, many voters took these factors into consideration before they casted their opinions onto their ballots, showing a tremendous change in how Americans were influenced through media. Through the mid to late 20th century, televisions began to spread into other demographics of entertainment, including music and daytime leisure such as game shows, and introducing a new form of journalism, broadcasting. With the television making entertainment and information from home more rapid and accessible, people began to see different perspectives and personalities apart from their hometown or household, especially in the media, where people could get a real, close, moving picture of what was occurring in other parts of the world, which broadened Americans' perspectives of the world outside of their country. In between these programs, advertisements began to take a move from the still newspapers to the moving pictures, showcasing a new world of marketing. This opened to more creative ideas as well, such as infomercials, campaigns, and series of commercials that connect together, making the viewer themselves more connected to the brand. With the television, brands were able to prove their worth in ways never seen before. Entertainment-wise, Americans began taking use of television full-time compared to earlier generations who were on a set time schedule and would usually sign off around nighttime. With channels such as MTV, a music television network that popularized the use of music videos for Generation X, which ironically used Video Killed the Radio Star as their first broadcasted song, and HBO, changing the need for going to the movie theaters to enjoy a movie. Different events that you would have typically had to be there for were now showing on TV, such as award shows and fashion shows. This began quite early, however, with the first televised Oscars showing in 1953. Alongside the television also came different forms of media viewing, such as VHS, an early form of on demand, which allowed for people not only to view what they would like when they liked with a specific tape, but also being able to make their own, with the use of VHS cameras and its descendant in the early 21st century, DVDs. This expansion and common use of media reflected in physical society in a plethora of ways, amongst all age groups, when it came to fashion, dialect, and even different household traditions. So essentially, television wasn't only a technological innovation, but a societal one. Throughout television's everyday use in homes since its introduction, Americans not only became more easily entertained, but more easily informed, in ways that they'd never been before. Although many people looked down upon it, many admired it and thought it was the blueprint, leading way for the future, which it certainly was, for the technology we know today, especially smartphones. The television is an information system, an entertainment form, and a remarkable invention in history all at once, and will certainly never be forgotten.